What is up, everybody? Welcome to my channel and welcome to another God of War Ragnarok video. Now for today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys some of the best weapons and attachments and some of the best hidden items scattered all throughout God of War Ragnarok. Now I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a spoiler warning right now for those of you that don't want to be spoiled for some of the late game stuff. Now a lot of these really good items are going to be locked behind killing a lot of the major mini-bosses, so if you don't want to be spoiled on some of the bosses in this game, then turn away now. Alright, so getting into the first item I want to show you guys, it's called the Hilt of Tearfree, and its description is charge the sword to sacrifice health and deal damage based on the amount of health lost. So this is a relic ability that you can get, and it's really cool because it's high risk, high reward. So what this does is when you activate the sword, the longer that you hold in the activation, the more health it will take away from you and the more damage that this sword will output. And one of the cool things about this relic is that it has a really fast cooldown of 30 seconds, so you can use it pretty often. So for those of you that want to play a little bit risky and trade off some health for some high damage, this thing is really good at taking out large groups of enemies. It's good at taking out large chunks of boss health. And to get this, you have to continue along the main story, and when you reach a certain point, you're going to come across one of these like werewolf-looking dog monsters. It is the alpha of all of the werewolf monsters. And then once you kill the creature, it's going to drop some resources, and then you take those to the nearest blacksmith, and you can craft it. So up next, a lot of people were asking me in my previous video about my God of Time build. A lot of people wanted to know where to get a lot of the relics and attachments to slow down time. So the relic for freezing time is called the Hilt of Hofud. I probably said that wrong, but it distorts space and time by creating a realm shift. So every time you activate this relic, it is going to temporarily freeze time. And the more you upgrade it, the longer time will be frozen. And you get this just by playing the main story. And once you get to the Heimdall boss fight, all you have to do is defeat Heimdall, and that will unlock the ability for you to freeze time. Now, if you want to further improve your time freezing abilities and you want to go for a time freezing build, you can unlock the different pommels for each of the weapons by killing the berserker bosses. When you get far enough in the game, you're going to unlock the ability to hunt down all the berserkers scattered throughout the lands. Now you're going to have to kill all the berserkers anyway if you want some of the best loot in the game. So if you want 3 different weapon attachments that will let you freeze time during combat, just go around killing all the berserker bosses, and this is how you get them. And since we're on the topic of the berserker bosses, if you kill all of the berserker bosses and you get to the final boss, the Berserker King, if you are able to defeat the Berserker King, which is one of the hardest bosses in the entire game, he will drop the Hilt of Skofnung or Skofnung. And in my opinion, this is probably the best relic in the entire game. The only downside is that it has a 279 second cooldown, so you can only use it probably once per battle. And it says the sword unleashes its power from the souls within. And when you activate it, all the different swords will appear from all the different defeated berserkers that you killed, and they will fight for you in battle. And these things are so powerful, you don't even have to fight. You can just sit back and watch the chaos. They will go around attacking all of the enemies, and then once their time runs out, they will find the nearest enemy and they will explode, doing a ton of damage. So this is a crazy good relic, good for any build, especially if you're going to eventually play New Game Plus. I highly recommend you get this because it's insane. So next up, I'm going to be showing you guys what in my opinion is the best abilities for each of the weapons. We have the Breath of Thalmor, which summons this huge blizzard when you use the Leviathan axe, so it's really cool. It keeps all your enemies at bay and stuns them in place while it's active, and it has a huge area effect that will hit multiple enemies at the same time. Then we have the Meteoric Slam for the Blades of Chaos, which is this huge slam which throws down meteors from the sky and does a ton of damage to multiple enemies. And then the final ability is the Finger of Ruin, which spins the spear around in circles and then launches a tornado straight in front of you, which will pick up enemies and slam them down onto the ground, and it does a crazy amount of damage as well. Now to get all 3 of these abilities, all you have to do is find enough of the ravens scattered throughout the lands. If you're going to want all 3 of these abilities, which are the best in the game, you're going to have to find all of the ravens. So it is a bit of a tedious task, but it is definitely worth it. Trust me, you're going to want these abilities. And then up next is the Hilt of Frostbrander. Now what this does is it pushes enemies back with force and grants an aura of protection. So when you have this activated, you're going to get this little like force field, and it will protect you from incoming damage when it's active. So this is really good for health builds or any kind of build where you want to stay alive as long as possible. Having a little force field protect you is definitely really handy, especially in boss fights. And to get this, you have to open all of the Raven chests, and then once all the Raven chests are open, you're going to have a little mini boss fight. All you have to do is defeat the boss encounter and you will get this relic. And then up next we have the Huldra Project 9. Now what this does is turns Mimir's discomfort into a Bifrost blast against nearby enemies, and it has a cooldown of 206 seconds. So this does a crazy amount of condensed Bifrost damage to one or multiple targets. This is really good against boss encounters, and it's just an absolute blast to use. It's a really fun relic ability. And to get this, you basically just have to play the main story and get far enough and continuously just check back with the blacksmiths, and you'll be able to craft it. I'm pretty sure you have to basically beat the entire game before you can unlock this, so it's a pretty late unlockable. But it is going to be available in the blacksmith once you get far enough. And then up next, it is one of the hardest to obtain, but one of the best abilities in the whole game, called the Rond or the Round of Obliteration. Now to get this, it's pretty difficult. You basically have to beat the entire story mode, because once you beat the story, you have to fight the final remaining Valkyrie Queen. Now this is no easy task. She is one of the hardest bosses in the entire game. I struggled with her more than I did the Berserker King, so in my opinion this is the hardest boss fight in the entire game. But once you finally defeat the Valkyrie Queen, you will get the Round of Obliteration, and what it does is you hold L1 for several seconds to charge the shield, and then press L1 and L3 to fire a volley of Valkyrie shards at enemies. And these Valkyrie shards are going to inflict Bifrost damage on any of your enemies. So if you're going for a Bifrost build, or you just like to do Bifrost damage, this is a really great attachment to have for your shield. And not only that, when you defeat the Valkyrie Queen, you're going to get one of the best runic summons in the game for Freya. You will unlock the Queen's Roar ability, where Freya's Slam Down applies a massive amount of sonic or hex to enemies based on her equipped runic arrow. And not only that, you will unlock the Queen's Armor for Freya as well. So you definitely want to go out and fight the Valkyrie Queen. So those are some of the best relics and weapon abilities I've found in all of God of War Ragnarok, but unfortunately these are some of the hardest to obtain. So if you have any plans of doing a New Game Plus, I highly recommend you go out and get all of these items. But hopefully this video helped you guys out. If you guys enjoyed it, then please give it a thumbs up and consider hitting the subscribe button. Hit the bell for notifications if you don't want to miss out on any future God of War Ragnarok videos. And then if you'd like, you can join my channel's Discord, which has over 1,000 members. And if you want to see my live streams, you can follow me on Twitch at SwanyPlaysGames Live. And that is going to do it for me, everyone, and I will talk to you all in the next video.